What's up, fellow storytellers? It is I, the OGGM, on a Tuesday morning. I think it's 8 o'clock here on my small island off the coast of Costa Rica. We're walking to the magic food place to get magic food because we're out of food. It is Tuesday, which means we're going to review stuff. It is also February, which means we're going to review stuff we really love. Even if it's obscure role-playing games that nobody's ever heard of, like Blue Planet. But first, we have to address the 55-pound dire bear in the room that is the Critical Role Adventures of Vox Machina Amazon Prime series. Now, caveat number one, we know I am not a fan of Critical Role or Vox Machina. Two, my knowledge of the actual show consists of maybe a total of 20 minutes of actually watching it and articles and what people have told me. And of course, my repetitive negative encounters with Critical Role fans. And three, I haven't seen it yet. I don't have, I have Amazon Prime, but it's not currently active. Though considering how much shipping I do, I probably should reactivate it. You know, $16 a month is kind of pricey, but then the free shipping sort of makes up for it. So yeah, but you know, I have multiple relatives who have Amazon Prime, so I could just watch it when I go over to their house. What I'll probably do is just wait till the whole thing's done and then go binge it at my mom's house or something while I'm babysitting the dogs. Anyways, so my personal knowledge of the show consists of watching all the trailers for the animated show, which, by the way, are awesome, and maybe 20 minutes of the actual show. Like, I know about Jester and the Cupcake. I know about Grog and the Deck of Many Things. I know about the multiple Vecnas. I don't know anything about 2, except for Jester and the Cupcake, and I don't know anything about 3. So yeah. So I am reviewing the reviews. And basically, as of today, the reviews seem to break down into 3, maybe 4 categories. So category 1 is people who have absolutely no idea what they're watching. It's a new animated cartoon. They've heard about it, blah. They watch it. And the reviews from people who have no idea what they're watching is amazing art, which goes without saying. If you haven't seen it yet, if you're familiar with the art style of, say, Young Justice or Invincible or Defense of the Ancients on Netflix, it is really good art. The art is good. Voice acting, of course, superb. Everybody was surprised that they managed to pull off David Tennant. Wow, David Tennant, Doctor Who is one of your voices? That's amazing. Pacing is a little too fast, especially in the first 2. I think there's only 3 up now. There might be 4 by now, but I think there's only 3. And since I have no point of reference, I have no idea what you're talking about. There's a lot of foul language, which I don't really get. This is definitely not appropriate for kids. And it feels like I'm coming into the middle of the story. So that's the review from people who had no idea what they're watching. Now compare that to Amazon's previous animated spectacular, season 1 of Invincible, which also sort of starts you in the middle of the story. But you pretty much have a good idea of what's going on in the Invincible universe by the end of number 2. So Invincible does a very good job of embracing people who have no idea what's going on but understand the basic superhero tropes and say, just sit right back, we'll explain everything. And people who have come into it who have no idea what they're watching, if you compare it to Invincible, they're saying, well, I really don't have that sensation. I really don't feel, after 3 episodes, like I have an idea what's going on. Because it sort of does start in the middle. I mean, by the time we meet the characters, they're all medium level. They're all 3-4 level. There's a dire bear. And the bard's casting, 6-level spells. So obviously these are not beginners. So I assume they're going to explain the story later on, and they'll probably be backwards, and stuff like that. But it does seem, at least from these reviews, that if you have no idea what they're talking about, you might come in a little confused. And the pacing's off, and the language, and the violence, whoa, extremely inappropriate. And is this how people play D&D? I didn't think that was how people play D&D, but maybe it is. Maybe it is just a bunch of friends sitting around telling piss and fart jokes. Okay, so that's review from people who have no idea what they're talking about. Then we have group number 2, people who haven't watched the show but play D&D. So, me. And the review of people who haven't watched Critical Role but watched the animated series and have some general idea what's going on is this what people think D&D is like? All the foul language, all the dick and fart jokes. You've reduced D&D to the lowest common denominator. Who is your target audience? A bunch of horny frat boys. But it's funny. The gore and the action is great. The details of the spells are great. Everything that I recognize is instantly recognizable. I know what spell that is. I know what he's doing. I know how that is. Really don't understand the guns, but whatever. It does feel, animation-wise, voice-wise, D&D-ish. It has all the tropes, it has all the cliches, it has all the things you would expect, but the audience is mixed on the foul language. A lot of people are like, is this what people think D&D is? But then there are other people who are like, no, that's totally what D&D is. And based upon my little knowledge, I think I would, unfortunately, be in the second group. I mean, yes, 45 years, 50 years, D&D is many things, many types of storytelling. And, for every D&D adventure that is an epic, deep, dark, pathos-inducing Greek tragedy, there are as many adventures where it's just a bunch of guys and girls sitting around making dick and fart jokes. And it's nothing new. I mean, look at the gazebo story, or the story about, Summoner. Are there any girls there? These are all things that actually happened. Vecna's head. These are all things that actually happened. The dick and fart jokes happen. It's not unheard of. So, yes, that's totally a D&D game. Maybe not to the extent of the level of the animated cartoon, because from what I've been told, it hits hard and fast with the dick and fart jokes. And maybe goes a little too overboard. But then again, who's their target audience? Young men, young males, and young females, college students. People their age. So, yeah. I don't really have a problem. I think that if that's, it, and it does do the animation well, and all the tropes and all the cliches, and everything's recognizable, and it does feel like this is a 4th level fighter, this is a 6th level ranger, this is an 8th level bard. I know what spell that was without having any knowledge about Critical Role, fine. But again, you're kind of dropping me off in the middle because I have no knowledge of what Critical Role is, so I don't know what the references are. The pacing, a little too much, a little too fast. The language, mixed. Animation, great. Voice acting, great. Recognizable as a D&D fantasy player, great. So that's group number 2. Reviews of people who have watched the animated show and play D&D. It's not great. It's not bad. The first episode's better than the second episode. By the third episode, it just sort of starts getting a little monotonous, and it's not very good. But it's not awful, Generally, it feels like Invincible is better. Group number 3. Critical Role fans. The actual Critical Role fans who have watched the show know what they're talking about, or at least hopefully know that they're talking about, I've noticed that a lot of the reviews talk about how this is the D&D campaign, but really, if you're familiar with Critical Role campaign number 1, the stuff we're seeing is from the early Pathfinder days and the beginning of the 5e days. So this is not, D&D. It's really Pathfinder animated, but they're not going to say that. They're going to say it's D&D animated. Anyways, the actual Critical Role fans, the actual people who watch Critical Role, deeply disappointed in the, yes, animation great, voice acting great. You got David Tennant. Wow, I recognize anything. I know what spell Kylie just did. I know what Pike just did. I know what Scanlan just did. That's Trinket. Oh my God, he's so cute. I recognize that. I know what's going on. I know where I am in the Critical Role story. I have that advantage over the other people because I've watched hundreds of hours of Critical Role. But deeply disappointed. The language, the piss jokes, the fart jokes, the sex jokes. That's not Critical Role. The pacing, too fast. Where's my Critical Role? Where's my epic Shakespearean Greek tragedy, multi-layer story arcs? Where's my heartbreaking romances? Where's my long, drawn-out stuff that I love about Critical Role? The stuff that got me through all those hard times. Where is that? How dare you not show that? I'm a Critical Role fan. I gave you money to back this, and I'm disappointed because I'm not seeing what I saw on the show. You're not meeting my expectations. That is a review Critical Role fans seem to be giving from the show. At least a few that I know that have spoken to me. Now, I'm sure there are Critical Role fans out there who absolutely love it. But yeah, they're disappointed because they're not seeing what they saw in the live show. But based upon my little, again, remember, I don't know anything about the show. I've maybe seen a total of 20 minutes worth over the past 4 years. Based upon my, the clips I've seen, the jokes I've seen, what's his name? And his running joke about the canteens, Marissa, Laura, Travis, Jester and the Cupcake. Actually, this does seem to really be what Critical Role is. A lot of sex innuendos, a lot of dick jokes, a lot of fart jokes, a lot of F-bombs, a lot of, middle fingers, a lot of cursing, a lot of just being murder hobos, a lot of, just bare, basic, normal D&D. Yes, there's epic storytelling, but, it doesn't live up to my expectations, which sort of makes you, again, wonder, maybe your expectations are really overblown, Critical Role fans. Maybe you're just being completely unfair to Mercer and company because the thing that you have imagined and built up never actually happened. Yes, there were amazing moments of storytelling. There are amazing moments of storytelling in any role-playing game, especially with as a group that have been doing consistency over a long period of time, especially if it is hypothetically scripted. Yes, but for every moment of epic storytelling in Critical Role, there was an moment of epic dick fart jokes and hilarious stuff. And if you look at most of the clips online, including the Jester and the Cupcake clip, a lot of that is bad jokes, puns, sexual innuendos, dick and fart jokes. But the Critical Role fans are disappointed because they're not seeing what they expected to see. But mind you, we're still early days in the first season, so that stuff you might not see to the second season if they get one, because usually the first season of any show is to attract an audience and establish what the world's like. And if they're lucky enough to make it to a second season, then, the stuff that you expect might start showing up late first season, beginning of second season. So give them a chance, I hate to defend Critical Role, but geez, chill out, guys. Nothing lives up to your expectations of what you think you saw. The actual Critical Role show, whatever. And finally, we have The reviews done by professional reviewers, people who got to see it ahead of time. Oh my God, somebody got to see it before me? How dare they? How dare they get to see it before me? I kickstarted it. I should get to see it before anybody else. No, that's literally not how it works. Reviewers get to see it first. Then they review it. Then everybody else gets to see it. The reviewers seem to sort of have well, it's okay. Pacing's too quick. Art's amazing. Voice acting's amazing. It breaks all the fantasy tropes because it's not what I was expecting. It seems to sort of just break the tropes. It's just a bunch of dick and fart jokes, which are hilarious. The gore is great. The animation is great. It circumvents the expectations because it's not The Witcher or Wheel of Time or Lord of the Rings. It's a bunch of idiots with sticks going out trying to get gold and sort of inevitably saving the world, but unintentionally. So, and oh yeah, my favorite one. This would be a great cartoon in the 80s. So that is my review of the reviews of Critical Role. Of course, I have to actually watch Legend of Vox Machina on Amazon Prime to have a pure review, but now I'm just reviewing the reviews because I'm a sarcastic asshole. And as I said, the reviews break down to 4 categories. Generally, everybody agrees animation's great. That was not going to be a question. Generally, everybody agrees the voice acting is amazing. That was not going to be a question. Generally, it seems everybody agrees there's too much pacing, and unless you've actually seen Critical Role, it kind of drops you in the middle without really explaining everything, and it doesn't live up to expectations, or hi bird, it circumvents expectations, or it turns the fantasy tropes on its tea kettle, and it's not what I expected, and it's not The Witcher, it's not Invincible. It's just kind of there, and parts of it are amazing, and parts of it are not. But there's only been 3 episodes, and it's an experiment, and they don't really know what's going to happen. And if they get a second season on Amazon, it might improve. But right now, this is just, hey, whoa, we didn't think this was going to happen. Now we've got to make this. We're telling a story based upon an accumulation of multiple years of storytelling from a Pathfinder campaign that became a D&D campaign that became a D&D campaign that was live streamed, that may or may not be scripted. So yeah, it is what it is. It's a mixed bag of fish. I don't think it's ever going to live up to people's expectations of what it is. So yeah, they've got that going against them, no matter what they do, and no matter how good it is, and no matter which review you agree with or disagree with. Nothing that the animated show shows, no matter how good it is gonna live up to the unfortunate expectations that has been placed upon Matt Mercer and company. And badmouth them as much as I do, I also legitimately feel bad for them a lot, because it's impossible. It is impossible for them to live up to these expectations people have made of things that never actually happened and in moments that didn't exist. But you've built them up in your head, and you hold them up to this impossible precipice that they can't ever meet. And it's really not fair. So at the end, I would say, give the show a chance, review it again after 5 episodes, and then if they get okayed for a second, which I think they tentatively have, you might actually see an improvement by the end of the first, and definitely in the second. Or you might not. I don't know. Anyways, I have to watch it to be sure. And look, we're at that place that I supposedly can't walk to. Hi. I'm fine, thanks. How are you? Anyways, that's it for my Tuesday review of the reviews of Legend of Vox Machina on Amazon Prime. As always, don't listen to anything I have to say. I'm an idiot with a computer. Make up your own mind. Watch it if you can. or find somebody who has it and watch it with them, and then come to your own conclusion. Because opinions are like, opinions. If you appreciate this content, let me know. If you don't appreciate this content, let me know. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. Help me hit 1,000 subs by August 4th, and we'll do something crazy. Till next time, you got your roll in my critical, and you got my critical in your roll. Two great taste together. Reese's Critical Roll Cups.